Welcome to our channel, where emotions come alive through every story. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the bell, so you'll never miss a new story.
I went to a blind date that evening, thinking it would be nothing more than an awkward dinner my mom forced me into. But the moment I stepped into the restaurant lobby, a little boy, maybe 5 or 6, ran straight at me and wrapped his arms around my legs. And then he cried, "Please don't leave my dad again." My heart nearly dropped to the floor. The boy wore a gray hoodie, his big dark eyes filled with tears as he clung to me like I was the only safe thing in the world. Before I could even react, a low, familiar voice cut through the air behind me. Steady, calm, and cold enough to make my chest tighten. "Noah Cole, you're wandering off again." I froze. I turned around. Adrian Cole. My first love. The man I loved stupidly, fiercely, until I was the one who walked away on a night filled with more tears than dignity. He looked nothing like the boyish college version I remembered. Taller, sharper, suit collar slightly open, his expression unreadable. People naturally stepped aside when he walked. His presence felt heavier, darker. His gaze landed on me. Surprise flickered for only 1 second. Then it disappeared, replaced by a cool, distant calm.
"Long time no see, Riley."
My chest tightened painfully. My blind date for tonight, Brandon Miles, looked between us, confused. You two know each other?" Adrian answered before I could open my mouth. "We did. A long time ago." I gripped the hem of my dress to steady myself. During dinner, little Noah sat quietly beside me, but every so often he tugged the corner of my sleeve, like he needed to make sure I wouldn't vanish. Whenever Brandon tried to make conversation or offer me food, Noah would glare, turn his face away, and huff softly. That cold temper. It was unsettlingly similar to Adrian's. At one point, I caught Adrian watching the space between my hand and Noah's. His eyes darkened, deep, unreadable, like he was trying to hold back something sharp inside him. When we finished eating, Adrian spoke calmly. "Let's go, Noah. Don't bother her." But Noah shook his head hard and grabbed my sleeve again. "I want her." I crouched and gently patted his head. "Be good, okay? Listen to your dad." Right before they left, Adrian leaned slightly toward me, voice low enough that only I could hear it. 7 years, Riley, and you still make people want to rely on you." I froze, but he had already walked away. Later that night, my mom bombarded me with questions as soon as I got home. I simply muttered, "We're not a match." She sighed heavily. "Then who is a match for you?" I didn't answer, because even after 7 years, seeing Adrian holding his son still hurt, exactly like the night we broke. The next day, Mom said her legs hurt and asked me to substitute teach at her old elementary school for a month. I agreed. But the moment I walked into Class 1A, I stopped breathing. Noah Cole was sitting in the front row. He looked up and, for the first time, his cold expression melted into something bright. Hopeful. Almost relieved. His name in the roster. Noah Cole. Cole. The last name that used to make my heart race. During class, he barely spoke. But whenever I walked near his desk, he gripped his pencil tighter, like he was holding back some emotion he didn't know how to express. Among all the loud, energetic children, he was the only one sitting quietly, alone, carrying a loneliness too heavy for a child his age. And in that moment, I finally understood. Noah wasn't quiet. He was scared, terrified. And whether I wanted to admit it or not, that fear had Adrian Cole written all over it. The second I finished my morning class, I heard shouting in the hallway. When I stepped out, I saw Mason Hill, a chubby, loud first grader, grabbing Noah by the collar, yelling, "That's why you're weird! You don't even have a mom!" Noah's eyes instantly reddened. He didn't shout. He didn't argue. He just stepped forward and punched Mason straight in the shoulder. Both kids tumbled to the floor. I rushed over, separating them as Mason wailed dramatically. Noah bit down on his lip so hard it began to bleed, but he stayed completely silent, like a statue trying not to break. I knelt beside him. "Noah, why did you hit him?" He wouldn't answer, but his eyes trembled, like a terrified little animal whose deepest wound had just been ripped open. I had no choice but to call both parents. Mason's mother arrived first. Perfect hair, sharp eyeliner, designer heels clicking across the floor. The moment she saw the red mark on her son's arm, she pointed at Noah. "This kid is out of control. Where are his parents?" I inhaled slowly, trying to stay calm. "Ma'am, please don't say it like that. They're just kids." "Kids? What kind of kid behaves like this? Doesn't he have a mother who teaches him anything?" The room froze. Before I could defend him, the door opened. Adrian Cole walked in. His eyes were icy, so sharp the entire room went silent. He looked first at Noah's trembling hands, then at Mason's mother.
If anyone brings up him not having a mother again.
His voice dropped, dangerously calm.
Don't blame me for being rude.
She stiffened instantly. No one dared say a word. I glanced at Noah. His head was bowed, shoulders shaking ever so slightly, like he was swallowing pain too heavy for a child. After Mason and his mother left, only 3 of us remained: Adrian, Noah, and me. The silence felt suffocating. Finally, I tried to ease the tension. Noah was provoked first. He wasn't entirely at fault. Adrian looked at me. His eyes were tired, almost painfully so, like he was holding back something fragile.
Thank you.
He said it softly, unusually gentle. Noah lifted his head, voice cracking.
Miss Dawson, I don't want people saying that about me anymore.
My heart twisted painfully. I knelt down and placed my hands on his shoulders. No one gets to talk about you like that. You did nothing wrong. For the first time, Noah leaned into me, seeking comfort from someone other than his father. Adrian watched us for a long, long moment. His expression darkened. Not with jealousy, but something deeper. Something like helplessness. Like a man who had been trying for years and still felt like he kept failing. That evening, Adrian took Noah to Evergreen Medical Center for a psychological evaluation. Before they left, he turned to me.
Riley, can we talk tonight?
My breath caught. About what?
Noah. And a few things from 7 years ago.
My chest tightened, but I nodded. Later that night, he picked a quiet tea lounge overlooking the city. No small talk, no hesitation. He went straight in.
Noah doesn't have a mother.
I stayed silent. He continued, voice calm but heavy.
My sister passed away in a car accident 4 years ago.
I froze.
She adopted Noah on her own. Never told the family. No husband, no boyfriend. Just her and the baby.
He rubbed his forehead, eyes dim.
After she died, I brought him home. But it nearly destroyed both of us.
I whispered, "Because you were too busy?" He looked at me, long, deep, unguarded. "No, because he looks like you." My breath hitched. Adrian turned toward the window. At first I didn't notice, but as he got older, the way he walked, the way he looked at people, the way he shut down when he was sad, it was all you. My chest tightened painfully, and I kept thinking, one day he'd choose you over me. He exhaled shakily.
When he hugged you today, that fear became real.
I didn't know what to say, because some part of me understood. He looked back at me, voice low.
Riley, if you're willing, I want you to stay around Noah for a while. Not as his mom, just as someone he trusts.
I swallowed. And you? His lips tightened.
I'm not asking for anything more. Not yet.
But his eyes said something else entirely. Something dangerously close to a confession. When I got home, I opened my old phone notes. The last message Adrian sent me 7 years ago was still there. "If you change your mind tomorrow morning, I'll still be waiting." I never replied. And tonight, that memory resurfaced with painful clarity. If I had gone back that day, would everything be different now? 2 days after that conversation with Adrian, I received a message from the school office. "Ms. Dawson, Noah Cole didn't come to class today." My heart dropped. Noah was quiet, terrifyingly quiet at times, but he had never missed school, not once. I tried calling Adrian. His phone was off. A bad feeling crept over me. After work, I went straight to the apartment complex where Adrian stayed whenever he worked in Seattle. A neighbor told me, "I saw the boy standing in the lobby this morning. For at least an hour. Looked like he was waiting for someone." My chest tightened. I searched the neighborhood until I finally found Noah sitting behind the building, curled up on the back steps, arms wrapped around his knees, clothes dirty and damp, his little face pale. He looked up when he heard my footsteps. His eyes trembled. "Ms. Riley, Dad said, if you liked him, you might have to hate me first, so I can get used to it." My heart cracked clean in half. I pulled him into my arms. "No, sweetheart. No one is hating you. Especially not me. Don't ever think that." For the first time since I met him, Noah cried loudly, like a real child, not the silent little adult he tried so hard to be. While I held him, a black SUV screeched to a halt in front of us. Adrian jumped out, tie undone, shoes dusty, as if he'd sprinted straight out of a meeting and didn't stop until he found his son. "Noah!" Noah stood up instinctively, then hid behind me. He trembled. "Dad said, if you really hate me, then he'll leave too." Adrian froze. His face went almost white. Then he looked at me, and something in his expression changed. Cold, sharp, defensive.
"Riley Dawson, what exactly are you teaching my son?"
I stiffened.
"I didn't. You're making him depend on you instead of me, aren't you?" His voice was like a blade. I swallowed hard.
"Noah is scared of losing you." I was trying to comfort him.
"Do I need you to teach me how to be a father?"
The words hit harder than I expected. I stood up straight.
"Noah was worried, and you weren't there. That's not his fault."
Something flickered in Adrian's eyes.
Guilt? Pain? But it vanished quickly. He scooped Noah into his arms.
You don't need anyone else but me. I'll take care of everything.
Noah reached toward me, tears spilling over. Miss Riley, please don't leave. I wanted to stay. But the look Adrian gave me, anger mixed with something wounded, raw, made my breath hitch. So I turned and walked away. The next day, rumors spread through the school like wildfire. Miss Dawson is living with a student's father. She's using him for money. She's having an affair with a powerful parent. The one who started it? Brandon Miles, the blind date who'd taken rejection personally. He stood by the teacher's lounge, voice dripping with mockery.
So that's your type? Men with kids? Interesting.
I didn't reply. But that afternoon, HR emailed me. Ms. Dawson, we received a complaint about inappropriate closeness between you and your student, Noah Cole. My stomach dropped. Someone wanted me gone. I stepped outside just as rain began pouring, soaking through my clothes as I stood helplessly under the gray Seattle sky. A black umbrella suddenly lifted above my head. I looked up. Adrian. His shirt was soaked through on one side, breath uneven as if he had run to find me. Why did you leave school early today? His voice was low, strained. I showed him the email. This is enough to get me fired. Adrian's jaw tightened. His expression turned dark, serious, not cold this time. Who sent it? There was no name. But I'm sure you know who loves digging into other people's business. His fingers clenched around his phone, veins visible along his hand. Then he grabbed my wrist. Come with me. Where? To fix all of this. And he stepped closer, eyes locked on mine. To finish the conversation from the other night. I froze. He leaned in, voice rough enough to shake something inside me. You really think I feel nothing when I see my son clinging to you like that? My breath caught. He leaned even closer, too close. Do you know what it feels like, going 7 years without touching anyone? Rain hit the pavement harder. His breath brushed my cheek, warm despite the cold. I stepped back. Adrian, stop. Don't use my feelings as some kind of game. He let out a soft, humorless laugh, eyes filled with a kind of pain I wasn't prepared for. Riley, you're not the one who did anything wrong. His voice cracked, barely audible. 7 years ago, I was the one who didn't fight for us. I stood frozen. He continued quietly. But I can now. Before I could respond, his phone rang. The emergency tone. It was the Cole family housekeeper, her voice trembling. Mr. Cole! Noah collapsed! Adrian went pale. He looked at me, fear flooding his eyes. Get in the car. Now. At Evergreen Medical Center, rain hammered the windows as Noah was rushed into the emergency room. His little face pale, his hand limp in Adrian's grip before they took him inside. I waited outside with my knees shaking. Adrian sat stiffly in a chair, fingers dug into the armrests so hard they turned white. When the doctor finally stepped out, he sighed.
The boy's physically weak. Stress can trigger severe reactions.
He's under far more emotional pressure than most kids his age. I pressed a hand to my chest. Adrian's head dropped, voice low and cracked. I know, but he won't tell me anything. The doctor flipped through his notes. He kept calling one name while unconscious. Both Adrian and I looked up. The doctor read it aloud.
Ms. Riley Dawson.
My heart stuttered. Adrian turned to me, exhausted, defeated, but determined.
Riley, can you stay with us tonight?
The hospital room was quiet, too quiet. Everything smelled like antiseptic, cold and sterile. Noah lay asleep on the bed, his tiny hand gripping the corner of the blanket, like he was afraid someone might disappear again. I sat beside him and gently wiped the sweat from his forehead with a warm cloth.
Adrian stood at the doorway, silent. He leaned against the frame, exhaustion written across every line of his body. His tie was gone, his sleeves rolled up, his expression hollow. When I pulled the blanket back over Noah, Adrian finally spoke, softly.
He only sleeps when you're here.
I whispered back. He's scared. When kids carry this much stress, it builds up until they can't handle it. He didn't respond. We just stood there, watching Noah breathe, afraid that even the slightest movement might wake him. And in that quiet moment, I felt something break inside Adrian. Not his pride, not his anger, but his fear. As midnight crept in, I stood to stretch, but something tugged at my sleeve. Adrian. He didn't meet my eyes when he murmured, "If you leave now, he'll wake up and think you left him for good." My chest tightened. I whispered, "And what about you?" He finally looked up, his eyes dark, deep, tired.
I'm used to people leaving. He's not.
There was no bitterness in this voice, just truth, raw and stripped down. A strange ache spread through me. I didn't know if it was sympathy or something much deeper. Noah woke around 7 a.m. His eyes fluttered open, and the first thing he said was,
Ms. Riley, are you still here?
I smiled softly. I'm right here. He burst into tears and grabbed onto me, hugging me so tight my shirt wrinkled. Adrian watched from the side. His gaze softened. Something vulnerable flickered in his eyes. Something I had never seen before. The doctor came in then.
What Noah needs most is stability. If she's the one he trusts most, let her stay close for now.
Adrian looked at me for a long moment. Then, with quiet determination, he said,
Riley, would you stay at my place for a while?
I blinked. Excuse me?
It's not for me.
His voice was steady.
It's for Noah.
I didn't answer immediately. I knew what it meant. If I left now, everything Noah had built inside himself would collapse. Finally, I nodded.
All right, but only until he's better.
His shoulders lowered, like he'd been holding his breath for hours. The penthouse Adrian's home in downtown Seattle was a high-rise penthouse, sleek, cold, immaculate. Not at all a place designed for a child. When I set my suitcase down, Noah ran over and grabbed my hand, eyes bright in a way I hadn't seen before. You'll sleep close to me, right? I ruffled his hair. I'll be in the room right across from yours. Adrian watched us from the kitchen, an unreadable expression on his face, like he wanted to say something but didn't know how. Breakfast Noah carefully placed a slice of egg onto my plate. Adrian raised an eyebrow.
He's never given me food before.
Noah replied seriously.
You eat a lot. Ms. Riley is small.
I almost choked. Adrian coughed to hide his laugh. For a moment, it felt like a real family. Warm, soft. Impossible, but real.
But peace never lasts long. That afternoon, when I went to pick Noah up from Maple Ridge Elementary, a woman blocked my path. Perfect makeup, designer coat, sharp eyes.
Are you Riley Dawson?
I nodded. And you are?
I'm the woman who chased after Adrian Cole for 2 years.
Her smile was cold.
And I assume you know exactly what you're stealing.
I frowned. You're mistaken. Adrian and I.
Oh, please.
She scoffed loudly.
Adrian avoids women like the plague. Yet he moved you into his home and let you take care of his son.
She stepped closer, lowering her voice. Do you think he did that because he feels sorry for you? Or because he still wants you? My heartbeat stumbled. Before I could answer, a deep voice cut through the tension.
Sienna Ward, you don't get to speak to her.
I turned. Adrian stood behind me, expression ice cold, eyes sharp enough to slice through glass. Sienna let out a bitter laugh.
No, right? Adrian, I stayed beside you when you were at your worst, and you never made it into my life.
His tone was brutal in its honesty. Sienna's eyes reddened. She shot me a hateful glare and stormed off. I was still frozen when Adrian stepped closer and said quietly, Riley, don't listen to her. My heart 7 years ago is the same heart I have now. Late night. The penthouse was silent when I was getting ready for bed. A soft knock came on my door. Adrian stood there, shirt slightly undone, hair messy, voice low. Do you have a minute? I want to explain what happened earlier. I stepped aside to let him in. The room was dim, quiet. He looked at me for a long time, eyes full of something deep and restrained. Riley, I know what you're thinking. He stepped closer. I didn't bring you into my home out of responsibility. His voice lowered, raw and rough. I did it because I don't want to lose you again. I swallowed hard and stepped back. Adrian, don't say things that will confuse me. He didn't stop. He pinned a hand to the wall beside me, caging me gently. Not forceful, just close. Too close.
7 years, he whispered. I haven't touched a single person. Haven't felt anything for anyone.
His breath brushed my skin. But when I saw you at that classroom door, I realized my heart wasn't dead. It was just waiting. My breath trembled. He leaned in, just enough to make my pulse race. If you'll let me, I want to start over. That night, after Adrian confessed, I stayed in my room for hours. Not because I hated what he said, but because I was terrified of it. Terrified that one step toward him would drag me back into the same heartbreak I barely survived 7 years ago. The next morning, as I walked Noah to school, a cluster of parents whispered loudly enough for us to hear. That's her, the teacher living with a student's dad. Must be nice having a rich man to rely on. She probably planned it from day one. Their voices crawled under my skin. Before I could pull Noah away, he squeezed my hand tightly, his eyes turning red. I won't let them say bad things about you. My heart clenched. Somewhere along the way, I had become home to this child. But just as we reached the school gate, a sleek black car rolled to a stop. Adrian's mother, Victoria Cole, stepped out. She wasn't cruel or sharp like I'd once imagined. She was elegant, composed, with an expression that saw straight through everything. She looked at me calmly, Miss Dawson, may we talk? I nodded. I knew this moment was inevitable. At a quiet tea shop, she didn't waste time. 7 years ago, I'm the one who made you two break up. The teacup in my hand trembled. She continued. That day, the doctor told us you had a health condition that might make having children difficult. I didn't want my son bearing the weight of the Cole family alone. So I asked you to leave him. I let out a small, bitter laugh. I remember. You were very clear. I wasn't good enough for her son. Victoria lowered her gaze, regret softening her voice. I thought Adrian would forget you. But for 7 years, he hasn't looked at another woman. My breath caught. When his sister passed away, he adopted Noah because the boy's name was the same name you and Adrian once said you'd give your future child. My chest tightened so sharply I had to inhale slowly. Victoria continued. I ruined the relationship once.
But if I try again, my son will resent me for life.
I murmured, I don't want him to resent anyone. She lifted her eyes, studying me gently. The only question that matters is, do you still love him? I sat in silence for a long time. Then I nodded. That evening, when I returned to the penthouse, Adrian sat at the kitchen counter with a cup of cold coffee in his hands. He didn't look surprised.
My mother talked to you, didn't she?
I nodded. He came to sit beside me, his voice quiet, raw.
7 years ago, I knew she'd gone to see you. I knew she said things that hurt you. And instead of choosing you, I froze. I was terrified of disappointing her.
My throat tightened. He continued.
The night you left, I went to your dorm to find you.
I stared at him, stunned.
But you were gone. No note, no trace.
I swallowed hard. That night, I waited for you in the courtyard. 5 hours, until the rain flooded the whole place. Adrian's face went pale. You waited for me? Yeah. My voice cracked. Until my clothes were soaked. Until I realized you weren't coming. Silence dropped like a weight between us. Then suddenly, he pulled me into his arms. Hard. Desperate. Shaking.
I'm sorry.
His voice trembled against my shoulder.
I'm sorry for losing you.
I didn't cry, but tears soaked the collar of his shirt. When he let go, he gripped my shoulders and met my eyes.
Riley, can you give me and Noah another chance?
My heart twisted. What about Sienna Ward? He let out a humorless laugh.
She's been chasing me alone. I never gave her anything to chase. Do you really think I brought you into my home, let my son call your name in his sleep, because of anyone else? His eyes reddened. Riley, I love you.
For the first time in 7 years, I heard those words again. And this time, the dam inside me broke. I love you too. Just then, small footsteps padded toward us. Noah rubbed his eyes sleepily, staring at us. Miss Riley, please don't leave anymore, okay? I pulled him into my arms.
I'm not going anywhere.
He burst into tears of joy, clinging to me. Adrian rested a hand on Noah's head, voice soft and shaking.
From now on, we're a family.
I looked at Adrian. He looked at me. And that moment alone was worth the 7 years we lost.
The next morning, I was pouring milk for Noah when Adrian stepped behind me, completely casual, and said, "We should go register our marriage." I almost dropped the jug.
What? He crossed his arms, leaning against the counter.
You want me to wait another 7 years?
My cheeks burned. Before I could answer, Noah hugged my leg tightly.
She's my mom. I agree.
I laughed through tears and nodded. 3 days later. At the King County Clerk's office, Adrian held my hand like it was something fragile and priceless. He looked at the marriage certificate the way most people look at miracles.
This time, you're my legal wife.
I smiled. And last time? He pulled me into his arms.
Last time, I lived with regret for 7 years.
Noah ran circles around us, laughing his little heart out. 7 years of missing each other. But we found our way back. And this time, none of us were letting go.